Thank you. All right, everyone. Good morning. Let's get this party started. Good morning in the West Coast. Good afternoon in the East Coast. Good night in the rest of the world if you're joining us from any other of the continents. Welcome, everyone. This is the second online meet of in 2023 for the VRARA Seattle chapter. And we have an exciting topic today to share about WebXR. A great host. Thank you, Hermes, for reaching out to the VRARA Seattle chapter to tell us about what you're doing these days in WebXR. I will be your host. My name is Roberto Haza, and I'm going to get us started real quick with the agenda. I'm going to introduce the Seattle chapter and the VRARA organization really quick. I don't want to take too much of the time. I want to give it to Hermes to show us what Arlene IO is doing with WebXR.tools. And then we'll wrap it up in the last few minutes with some Q&A. So anybody's able to unmute and introduce themselves. This is the quick intro. My name is Roberto. I'm the founder of Extended Reality Advisory, as well as the Seattle chapter president. And I have here on the call my partners in crime here as EVP of Partnerships and Community. I'll start with Julia if you want to introduce yourself. Hi, Julia.
Sure. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm helping out with partnerships and community, and so feel free to reach out with any of those things.
Thank you, Julia. And also a couple of advisors that have been helping me get this going after a pandemic halt stop on the Seattle chapter activities. Dan Collin, I haven't seen him there, but Boaz, I saw Boaz Ashkenazi, Extended Reality Program Manager for Meta Platforms. Boaz, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Boaz Ashkenazi. It's nice to meet everybody and excited to be working with this team here in Seattle and open to any questions if people want to reach out.
Thank you, Boaz. All right, so a quick introduction to the Seattle chapter. Again, this is all about sharing knowledge, perform experiments, push boundaries of XR, opportunities to be active part of the extended reality community, during sharing projects, learning opportunities, connecting the Seattle extended reality community with the global extended reality community. Everything we're doing here is to grow, connect, and share knowledge. For those of you not aware of who VRARA is, it's a global organization. We're just the Seattle chapter here in the Pacific Northwest, but it's an international organization designed to foster the collaboration between solution providers and customers that accelerate growth, fosters research and education, and shares industry best practices, connect the member organizations, and get to know the services of member companies, right? The global organization has a ton of content out there, popular podcasts with over 100 episodes, 65,000 members and contacts. We're just a little speck right now joining today. 24,000 monthly website visits that we got to the VRARA.com website, 60 plus chapters worldwide. This is just one of it, Seattle. 100 major events per year. This is one of the events. We do several virtual, in-person that started reactivating late last year. 20 plus dedicated interest groups. We call it the verticals, led by committee members, and a member Slack portal where we can interact. A few of the events lining up really quickly are the Immerse Global Summit. We had a couple end of last year in Europe and USA, and there are new dates to be determined. In the Seattle chapter, Julia and I have been very active trying to get our activities going. So we have our first in-person since the pandemic started, hopefully in April 20th. So keep your eyes tuned there for the Seattle Center, a demo day to walk through the Seattle Center with a very cool mobile AR experience. We'll have another virtual call at the end of April, introduction to virtual gathering platforms, and another Snap demo day where Julia will introduce us to what Snap is doing also in person. We're preparing our first regional collaboration with Vancouver, setting that up for later in the summer at the end of July. And I invite also everybody to join forums. We have the Education Forum happening in April 26th, everything virtual, super easy to get to, and the Enterprise and Training Forums as well in May 24th. So a lot of activity happening, giving opportunity for anyone to connect, share knowledge, and grow. So without further ado, I want to start with the favorite quote of of Walt Disney, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. And we have a lot of doers in the association, but here is to give us the talk of the day, Hermes Frangoudis, CTO of Arlene.io, and to share with us WebXR tools. Hermes, if you would like to take it away, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Sure. Thank you, Roberto. Thank you, Julia, and everyone for having me today. I'll share my screen here in a moment. Let me know when you can see my window.
You're on.
Perfect. So my name's Hermes Frangoudis. I'm CTO of Arlene, and at Arlene, we like to focus on extending reality. And so what does that mean? At Arlene, we started as pioneers of metaverse technologies. We work with many brands and technologies and creators to really look at what's out there in the market and understand, like, how do we help them enter this market? And so we spent quite a number of years working as a consultancy and an agency to really understand, like, what do brands and creators need to get there, to close the gap? Because when you're building XR experiences, there's a lot of pain points, right? You have both creative resources and a requirement on dev resources. They have to work very nicely together. They integrate a variety of tools and SDKs. And this actually makes things very complex. So when you're testing and you're working, it's really hard to preview. And because things are hard to preview, that means it's slow to iterate. And when things are slow to iterate, it's really hard to kind of like judge how long certain fixes will take or certain builds will take. So we always overestimate. And then the last big pain point that we came across was publishing, right? Like, you've built the whole thing. Now, how do you get it up on the web or on an app store and get it out there and make it accessible to everyone? And just like everyone, we looked at a lot of the current solutions out in the market. You know, they either focus on fixing one pain point, and then you're left to really cobble the rest of the solutions together with other products, or you're just going to reduce the scale and scope of your project, right? There's other tools out there that are also taking this like all-in-one multi-tool, like the Swiss Army knife, we'll call it, of XR. And we really know that like Swiss Army knives are quite underwhelming tools at the end of the day. Like, they seem to have something for everyone and solve every pain point, but it's either really too complex to use or just doesn't solve the issue at hand efficiently. So we developed WebXR tools, and we took more of a toolkit approach. You know, we understand not all XR experiences are cut the same way. They don't start from the same base. So we tailored these unique mechanics into different editors and tools that allow users to build completely optimized experiences. We build on top of existing technology, so we're not out here like reinventing the wheel, so to speak. There's been a lot of pioneering work done on the technical side, but it requires that massive gap. And what we've done is look to reduce that technical gap and make it something that all creators can work on, and also rest assured that it's always going to work, because you know it's built on, you know, steady footing. And so we also don't look to replace the existing tools. Our tools pick up and augment where existing tools leave off. We support all the standard file types and things like that. So moving on, there's a lot of different types of XR experiences, everything from virtual previews to immersive web VR experiences to face tracking and background segmentation. And with our tools, you can build all of these. We'll even walk through a couple. So I'm sure we've all been here. We get the brief, we're building this. What's the time estimate? How long is it going to take to deliver this, right? And face tracking, you have one model that tracks here, you have another one to the ears, you have the logo on top. Let's say at the speediest, you're talking easily a day's worth of effort for the team. Background segmentation, easily about the same. Virtual previews, where you have a 3D model, you can swap between multiple models. Maybe there's a touch point, there's the AR preview. You're not getting that for, even if you strip back a lot of the features, you're talking still hours worth of work. And don't even get me started on immersive experiences. You're talking like days, weeks, especially with iterations. What if I told you you could build all of these in our editors in 20 minutes? Like this is the level of ease that we're trying to bring to this. And I know what everyone's thinking, blah, 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 blah. Boring, show the demo, because this is, you know, put your money where your mouth is and let's see what it looks like. So here, when you come to the website, beauty of it, the name is the URL, WebXR.tools. I know it's a lofty approach to say we are the tools that power all of WebXR experiences, but that's what we believe we're building. And these are the fundamental tools to get you started. So if you don't have an account, you can register. It's free. If you do, you can log in. Here are my demos. When you log in, you're greeted with your dashboard. You could filter by the different project types. You can archive your projects. You can view analytics. So you can see how popular an experience is by location, by event interactions, like what are they clicking? So you can understand how people are also using your experiences. Now, let's get started real quick. I got to move this to open up my demo folder. Any preference where we start? Face tracking, 3D, previews, immersive experiences? Anyone? No.
Whatever you prefer, Hermes.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll start with the basics, simple 3D product preview. You come in here, on the left side, you have your different configurations for your loading screen, your models. In the center, you'll have your preview for that configuration. On the right, you'll have your settings options. Here we can adjust the background color. We can change the logo out. That hurts my eyes. There we go. And then you come over to the model. And if you want to have multiple models, you can add as many as you'd like. You can delete the models. You can rename them. Say chair 2. We'll make this one chair 1. Come over here, swap out your GLB file. And we chose GLBs for a very specific reason. When you're editing the model in Blender or any other 3D program, the way the materials and textures look in that program is the same way they're going to come out on web. And like I said, we're not looking to replace those tools. So we don't believe you should be tweaking the model at this point. If there's something wrong with the model, you should be going back to your 3D program. So here you'll upload your model. Computer's not too thrilled with the screen share. But when you upload the GLB or GLTF, we'll generate the USDZ file for you. So for iPhones, it'll automatically be there. You can come up here and adjust the header. You can hide it altogether, or you can change it. So we'll make this transparent. And then we'll give it another logo for the black logo for the Herman Miller. You want to add a touch point, you can come over here, select that touch point, and pick image or video. I'm not sure why my computer is not too thrilled with me right now, but we'll keep going. In here, you can preview it. You can see the logo is pretty small. Here we only have one model, so we'll come back in. 50. Now you can see it there. Here you can add in whatever click-through you want. You can also edit what's the desktop QR code say, the text, the modals, the descriptions. And all of this is accessible even through the UI. So you click on the different buttons to edit them, but you can also swap through if you know what you're doing. And because this is web, we allow you to add your own custom CSS. So we don't pretend to say our styles are the best. You can add whatever you want in there. And You could add things like custom modals and overlays that way. You can even limit the controls to the model. So right now, let's say I don't want the user to be able to rotate that much. Come in here and adjust the rotation. And then we can save and publish. And as soon as you see that green dot, that means it's live. So when we load, we have our experience. If you want to experience it in AR for yourself, feel free to pick up your phone and scan the QR code.
We can all do it right now, right, Hermes?
Yeah, this is live. This is ready to go. The beauty of the experience is when you hit save and build, we build to a static HTML file on a CDN somewhere. So there is no third-party microservices that need to go get triggered and built. If it can load a web page, it'll load this experience. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is we take that into account. So let's say you're an agency, you also don't want to leave this just sitting in a URL, you want to embed it on another website. We allow you to embed the project. We'll even give you the iframe code that you need, so you can quickly copy and paste it out. For our agencies that run these as banner ads, we also have this previewer mode, so it'll load everything in most standard iframe sizes. And so you can see like what your experience would look like, and then you can come back in and adjust the custom CSS to make any adjustments here. And if you don't like certain buttons, you can always hide them. So you go in here and you can say, actually, I don't want any AR mode or anything like that. I want it to just be the 3D. You do that. And you can always bring it back. So that's the beauty of this. It's all, you can experiment as much as you want. Let's say you do change something and you forget to hit save and publish. Okay, refresh. It'll ask you if you want to restore changes. So we do save changes locally and stuff like that. So that way, if something happens to your Wi-Fi, you're not completely SOL. Go back to the dashboard. Let's create another experience because I know time is ticking. We'll go March 23rd, and then we'll go into
I wrote something on the WebAR one.
You want to see WebAR? All right, let's go right into WebAR then.
Right, I know there's a few people joined particularly for that, so.
Perfect.
Me being one of them.
For sure. So in the WebAR, you're given, following similar design language, you have your configuration on the left, you have your previews in the center, and your settings on the right. And you can choose everything from background color to which experience loads first, front or rear. You can customize the call to action here. We also give you the desktop mode, because not only is there always a mobile mode, many times you'll need to redirect the desktop user there. So we give you the QR code and you can customize all of this. Within the types of experiences we offer, you have a front camera and a rear camera. If you only enable one, the start screen is smart enough to understand that only front camera is loaded, and it'll automatically choose that one for you. So you don't have to go and sit there and configure it, but if you set up both, you can choose which one you want to start with. We have everything from your standard 360 AR, which places the user kind of at the center of the screen, and you can place the models around them. This is your reference. You can't move the user because that's your camera. That's always going to be static, but you can get an understanding of where the things are placed with regard to them, and also see what it looks like from the user's perspective. Because we're in selfie mode, we're looking at the user, versus if we were in rear camera mode, we came in here, we'd be looking out. So you do get those previews to make sure you're kind of like building for what would be expected and what the camera would be looking at. You can also enable experiences. Let's say you build one 360, you're like, I don't want to sit here and rebuild this on rear camera. That doesn't make any sense. Just come up here and you toggle use both cameras. And now when you come to the rear camera, it'll say this is actually set for both. Go back to your front camera and edit your scene there. You can hit here and select as many models as you like. Actually, I have a really fun one for this in 2 seconds. I think I forgot to drag it over. There's some butterflies, and this one I like because it shows something that we did think a little bit further around, like if a model is broken for a certain reason, you don't have to really go back to your 3D program. And in this instance, it's with things like frustum culling and double-sided materials, because these are really hard to solve from a 3D perspective in terms of like painstaking, especially if you've created these models or you've downloaded somewhere. And from a developer perspective, it's actually not that hard to fix. So we allow you to enable double-sided materials and disable frustum culling on specific models. So that way they'll always render correctly. Versus if I disable it, you can see here, they start to disappear as I turn around. Okay. In order to fix that, you have that ability there. And yeah, so that's a 360. That's a standard. Users stand in one place, nothing comes close to them, but you can kind of feel really immersed, take a photo, that sort of thing. The other fun thing we have around here is you can reset your application at any time. So you're like, actually, I didn't want to build that, or maybe it's live and that was like last month's campaign. Let's change it. Let's go to face tracking. And so here we'll create an experience. The face tracking experiences are based on 8th Wall, and that's why you'll get this project is not used for commercial purposes. We have certain agreements with 8th Wall. So if you're a free member or you don't have like an advertising license, you'll kind of see these, but you can keep building with it. Here in the front camera, you have either a face mesh, so you can upload an image, or you can switch to model mode. We're in the process of merging these two because we've gotten some feedback from users that you might want to use both at the same time, and it's not really an either or. So if you see this change in the next week or so, that's where it comes from. But here we'll delete this default model and let's start adding some of those sunglasses and stuff that we saw in the deck. So we'll add our sunglasses. And even when you reset the experience, you still keep your assets. We don't delete them. So let's say you upload them in one experience, you could always bring them back later. So here we have our sunglasses. And you can choose to rotate either visually or come in here and say, okay, actually, I need that to be 90 degrees. And we adjust the scaling because we've noticed sometimes you import a model and it's just so big, you can't even see it. So here, that's why the scale is set to 0.5. If you ever encounter that. And we also allow you to lock the scaling because we know kind of a pain in the butt when you have to scale something up and you got to sit there and edit like 3 fields at once. So like I said, this is based on 8th Wall, and you can choose different anchor points. Here it's based on the nose anchor, but it's sunglasses. We probably don't want to be basing off the nose tip, maybe something more like the forehead because it's a lot more stable in terms of rotation, the way it points. So we do that and then adjust it based on its position relative to the forehead. And then we could add another model. We'll add in our earrings. Here we got our earring in there, and we want our earrings to be based off of our ears. So I'll move this one to the left ear and rotate it around like this. Actually, let's get a look at it from here and move around. The scale is massive, so let's do a little bit something smaller. There we go. Cool. So now we have our left earring. Let's add in our right one. We don't need to re-upload. We can choose the model directly from our asset manager, and our asset manager is smart enough to understand that it's the same model. So instead of duplicating it, we instance it under the hood for performance reasons. So you get all the smarts of having a developer without actually having to have a developer. In here. All right. Save and publish. View live project. Cool. So if you want to scan that. We can all wear some sunglasses and earrings.
Perfect. As everybody is trying this last demo, this is really cool, Hermes. You just did it live
Actually,
for us.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to switch this to the front camera so that we all start with the 8th wall and don't have to. So if you already have it loaded, just hit refresh and you'll get your face tracking.
That is really cool. Thanks for walking us all through this amazing, like, live demo. Three different experiences you created in front of us just in 20 minutes, right?
Yep, exactly.
I want to open up the microphone and allow for questions. We have a few minutes left. I want to make sure that anyone who has a question, you can type it on the chat. I can relay your question, or you can just unmute yourself and
also for everyone, I have to have my shameless little plug here. I registered today.
Thank you, Hermes.
Actually, along those lines, Hermes, I think maybe just mention your freemium level, a little bit about your pricing, because I think that's an innovation you guys are doing as well. It's very affordable.
For sure. We really believe that this needs to become more accessible. So we have a very generous free tier. It's got about 25 projects per type with 500 views per project. And if you archive a project, that doesn't count against your counts and things like that. So we really want to make this something that you can go in and play with and really get to understand, because we believe that once you see the value in it and play around with it, you'll convert to either a premium member, and that's $25 a month, and that gives you a little more. It's for the hobbyist, or for the pro where you want to take it more white label, that's $99 a month. And then if you have a Teams or an enterprise, those start around $1,000 a month, depending on what packages and things you're looking to do. But again, we really want to make it affordable to the smaller agencies to allow them to compete, because for too long, a lot of this technology has been gatekept by big agencies with deep budgets. And here's an opportunity for everyone to come out and be able to do it.
Great. We've got a question here from Ashish. He says, does your product work with depth kit files?
Currently only GLB. So if you can export them to a GLB, yes. But I'm also more than interested to hear about different file formats and different use cases. So feel free to reach out, Hermes at WebXR.tools. I'm more than happy to jump on a call and figure out how we can better support that.
Other questions? Raise your hand or put them in the chat or unmute yourself. Let's see. How well does it handle geolocated device AR projects? Sorry.
Currently, we don't support the geolocation. We do have it on our roadmap to embed the 8th wall has like geo triggers. So we'll be adding support for those in the next quarter or so, along with things like marker tracking that's actually rolling out next week. So as the year progresses, we're going to just keep rolling out new features and adding more to the toolkit. I did see Tanya had a question.
Sure.
Yes, so I'm a teacher at a virtual learning program, and we are looking to develop a technology strand of classes that students can go to. And one of the things that we wanted to do was to have our students learn how to use tools like these. We have some that are just really very, very high functioning that we are like almost chasing behind them, trying to challenge them. And we were very, very interested in this. So I wanted to find out, for schools, is there a way to get a site license? Like, we're a small school, so basically we would only have maybe about 30 to 50 kids that would actually access the program. Over time, they'd be between middle and high school. And so I just wanted to find out what kind of pricing they would have for that.
Yeah, it'd probably be around like a Teams license, like an educational Teams license, and enabling them to be able to share projects, to be able to have like templates, that sort of thing. So yeah, feel free to reach out and we can definitely discuss like what that pricing would be. But we look to make it very attainable and affordable. And if you don't want the Teams, you can always sign up for free, right? There's always that ability to go in there, but for sure, we want to be able to meet that need. And I think schools are very important. So please do reach out.
And the other follow-up question I had was this, is there any opportunity for a demo to be done for a school? Like,
Of course.
Okay,
Of course.
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that comes with the Teams account, is you get an hour demo. So we can present in front of whoever. We can split it up into 2 sessions or 3 sessions, but for sure it comes with a lot of hand-holding. We want to make sure that everyone's successful with this. And the beauty of it is we set up the bumpers in such a way that as long as you paint within the lines, you'll always be successful with our tools.
Thank you so much. This is exciting. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for your question.
Thanks, Tanya. We've got another question from Amy here in the chat. In your demo for adding touch points, there were options to launch images and videos. Can you also launch other 3D assets or playback embedded keyframes?
In terms of embedded keyframes, we do support tap to play animation. So you could have the animation either auto play or play on tap of the model. Currently, the overlays are only limited to images and video, but if you have a different overlay type that you'd like, I'm more than open. We are very much a customer focused, like product led growth. I'm only adding features that people are asking for, features that we realize pain points for, that sort of thing. So if you have a feature, reach out. I'm all ears to get it on the roadmap.
Thank you, Hermes. And I'm gonna interfere here. We're getting to the top of the half hour that we had for today. So thank you everybody for participating, asking questions, listening. If any last words, Hermes, before I close it off here?
Thanks everyone for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I want to invite everybody also that are here in the Seattle area for, we call it our XR and Beers demo days at the end of April at the Seattle Center under the Space Needle. More details to come, or also at the end of the very last Thursday of April for this introduction to virtual gathering platforms. We all know that Outspace VR shut down a few weeks ago, and we have an expert to come tell us what are the different options that now people can have. Thank you again. My name is Roberto Haza. Julia and I hosted you today. Hermes, I appreciate everything that you shared with us today. So, and again, thank you for reaching out to the Seattle chapter. I really appreciate it.
I'm just going to jump in there. We are putting together a mailing list, so I'm seeing several new folks, which is wonderful. Thank you for joining us today. Feel free to reach out to Roberto or myself to add your name, your email to our email list. We're also posting on LinkedIn and other sites, but that's going to be the best place to keep in touch right now for opportunities and upcoming programming.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. See you next time.
Okay.
Bye, Julia, Boaz, Hermes again. Bye.